It's on. Awesome. Okay. So I was asked by, well, In and On, to talk about my first experience reading Harry Potter. Just to clarify, I just finished the Harry Potter series for the very first time about a week ago. I'm 21 years old. The very first time I read it, it took me 17 days. So 7 books, 8 movies, 17 days between school and work. Not that bad, if I do say so myself. So they had a couple questions for me, and I guess I'll talk about them. Do you regret waiting this long to read the series? What did you like most about it? And what are your thoughts about the movies? Okay, so, I mean, I do, and I don't regret waiting this long to read them. Growing up, a lot of my friends did read Harry Potter, but as a kid, the things that I was reading definitely wasn't necessarily age appropriate. I read a lot of, like, just dark and morbid stuff. I was just a really bummer kid. Things that were dark and depressing just had already kind of sparked my interest. So that's the kind of stuff that I was reading. I was reading things that I probably shouldn't have been reading at 11, 12, 13 years old. But because my literary supervision wasn't really existent because my mom worked and stuff, I just kind of read what I wanted. And I would see the Harry Potter series and I would see my friends get really excited about it. And it didn't really interest me. Part of me thought that I was above that, and I was wrong, obviously. But it just didn't spark my interest. I've never been a big fantasy fan or a big fan of series in general. I definitely would stick to the classics and other types of literature. But as far as regretting about reading it this late, I think I gained a different perspective reading it now. I looked at it from a standpoint not just from someone that was enjoying the books, but from an English major standpoint. I'm an English major, I'm an American Lit major, so I read constantly. I'm reading a new book every week, and I'm analyzing it, I'm taking notes on it. And I think that part of what I enjoyed so much about reading this series at 21 in college and looking at it from more of a literary perspective and not just as a book that's fun to read was gaining things from it. Looking at her writing style, and she manages to use this incredibly simple wording and vernacular, but is so descriptive and creates these really in-depth characters that are multifaceted that you just fall in love with, and you want to see what they're going to do. You want to see, you know, the good guys do the good things. You want to see the complex characters be super complex. You want to see the bad guys do, like, awful villainous things, because that's what you want to see when you really invest in a character. Part of what I loved about this series, even before I had read it, was that it raised a generation of readers. Kids that were my age growing up, obviously, got excited to read. They were excited for the new book to come out. They were excited to see what was going to happen in the series. And it was nice to see other kids feel the way I did about books. This series raised a generation of readers to get super pumped about reading. They were always so excited for the books to come out. And it was an easy way for me to connect with other kids that like to read. Even though we weren't reading the same things, it was really, really nice to have that in common, because I usually kept to myself as a kid. My phone just whistled at me. Oh my goodness. But that was probably one of the biggest things that I loved about the series, even before I read it. My thoughts on the movies. Okay. I am a book purist at heart. I am always, like, the books will always be better than the movies. Like, I love books. There's nothing that you can really gain from a movie that hasn't already been gained from a book, in my opinion. I love literature, and there's nothing that can really compare to holding a book in your hands and reading it and gaining the extra detail. And as much as I really love the movies, and I did really enjoy the movies, and this was my first time ever seeing them, it's never going to compare to the books. I think that if you read the books, you gain so much insight, you gain backstory, you get the subplots, you get characters that aren't necessarily in the movies, you just get so much more descriptive detail than they could ever capture on film, and nothing can beat what you picture in your head when it comes to books, in my opinion. And I would see other kids freak out about Harry Potter and get really excited, and I associated being a hardcore Harry Potter fan, like, that was your passion. Like, I associated Harry Potter fan with someone that had read the books and watched the movies, not just someone that had just kind of seen the movies. So I knew going into it, even before I decided that I was going to read the series, that I was never going to watch the movies if I didn't read the books, because I wasn't doing the series justice. I wasn't giving it its fair due. I wasn't giving J.K. Rowling her fair due as an author, as someone that put her time and passion into this work. So So yeah, as much as I really loved the movies and I loved seeing the characters come to life, and I did have that unfortunate disposition that despite the fact that I didn't read the books, and didn't see the movies, I already kind of knew what these characters looked like in my head because I had seen commercials, I had seen previews, I had seen merchandise with their faces on them, so I knew what they looked like. But that was okay, because the characters that I didn't know what looked like, I was able to kind of form an opinion of them in my head, and that was equally as cool. So yeah, favorite characters and did you get sorted? First off, I did get sorted. I went on Pottermore, and I got sorted into Slytherin, and I wasn't really surprised. I kind of knew from the beginning that that's where I'd fall. I'd either fall into Slytherin or Ravenclaw. And I think I gave more Ravenclaw type answers up until a certain question, in which case that did kind of put me in the Slytherin house. But I do like my house, and I'm enjoying Pottermore. I'm gaining some stuff from it. The little background details. When I do something, I do it thoroughly, and I gain as much out of it as I can, and Pottermore has really helped with that. So has the Harry Potter Wikipedia website, and just hearing everything that everyone else has to say about it. Favorite characters. I am a lover of villains. I will always love the villains a little more than the good guys because I love the complexity in villains, and I'm in love with the Malfoy family. Not just Draco Malfoy, but the Malfoy family in general. The idea that these are people that are so ingrained in just the Death Eater mentality, and they're so willing to serve this tyrannical psychopath that, like, they'll do anything. And I love Draco because he's not just a surface character. He does struggle a lot with the concept of good and evil, what's right and what's wrong in the movies and in the books, obviously. And I liked seeing that. And I really enjoyed seeing him on film and seeing how they did that. Other favorite characters. I love Sirius Black. I don't think I got enough Sirius time in the series. I think that they should have, like, did a whole just focus on Sirius and even, like, his relationship with James and Lily. I really love McGonagall. She's just a hard ass, and I really love that. I'm trying to think who else. Hagrid. Hagrid just touched my heart. Like, oh my goodness. I even love, like, the characters that aren't necessarily big characters in the movies, or even aren't even in the movies, but they're in the books. Peeves, the Ghost Peeves. I love, and I've talked to you. You watch this. I've talked to you about this. I love Peeves. I love just watching him tear the crap out of these students and just be kind of mean because he thinks it's funny. I love Winky, the house elf that you don't get to see in the movies, but she's such an important part in one of the books and in one of the movies, obviously, but they don't put her in there. But you miss the subplots, but I loved seeing those little characters, and I loved seeing them play bigger roles. Yeah. Let's see if I have any more questions. Overall thoughts. Yeah, I mean, I think I've kind of covered that. There's not much else I can say. Just a really quick thank you to everyone that's, like, put up with my Pottermania for these last couple weeks. I know I'm about 10 years late on the bandwagon, and as much as I wish I could have experienced it with everyone else my age, I'm really glad I finally did get around to it. Better late than never type situation. Thank you to everyone that answered my questions, and you guys, especially on Tumblr, you guys were super helpful and surprisingly supportive when I was sitting there ugly sobbing when I was reading these books. And you guys answered my questions, told me where to go for more information, gave me insight that I wouldn't have gained had it not been for you guys answering my questions. Yeah. Oh, one last question that I forgot to answer that I meant to answer. Why did I start reading them? What made me want to start reading them? Well, I'd wanted to read them for a while. About 2 years ago, while in my English class in college, we talked about pop culture and its impact when it comes to literature and what literature's impact on pop culture is. And it occurred to me that I had missed a huge chunk of it. I had missed a huge chunk of pop culture because I didn't see those movies, because I didn't experience that. So I decided to, and I told myself I was going to get around to it. And then a few months ago, around 6, almost 7 months ago, someone just kind of popped into my life, and Harry Potter is a huge part of his life. And when he would talk about it, I had never seen someone get so excited about those books the way I got excited about other books. So I obviously wanted to see what made him so excited about it and what made him love it so much. And so he was kind of that extra push for me to read those books, because I wanted to be able to enjoy that and be part of that. And he's been really helpful dealing with my nonsense and the nonstop texting, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening, I can't deal with this, and dealing with my feels, my deep Harry Potter feels. But yeah, that's it, I guess. Thanks for watching if you watched it. Again, I just got asked to do this video. If You know, if you liked it, cool. If you didn't, sorry. I mean, chances are I'm probably going to be obsessing about Harry Potter for a while, if not the rest of my life, because it's definitely been one of those books that's going to stick with me for a while. I'm not going to be like, oh, it changed my life, but it definitely gave me a perspective, and a different perspective on not just literature, but just the things around me. It sounds cliche, don't judge a book by its cover, but I obviously did growing up, and now I gave it its fair chance, and I'm really glad I did, because had I not decided to read it, I think I would have been missing out on this entire different world, not just the wizarding world, but this entire world of like pop culture and literature in general. And I think through reading the series, I've kind of found a whole new love for literature that obviously I had, but I've added more to my love for books and my love for writing and reading and everything that kind of goes into literature, and that always means a lot to me, and gaining that kind of perspective is always a big deal to me. So yeah, I can't really think of anything else to say. Real quick, shameless store promotion. I'm getting some Harry Potter fabric, so I'll be bringing some Harry Potter bows to my store, and I'll go ahead and let everyone know when that happens. That's about it. I can't really think of anything else to say. Thanks for watching this, guys. I really appreciate it. Even though, like, I don't see why you watched it. But thanks. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Where's the stop button? There it is. Got it.